Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. As I mentioned in my previous video about the Auguste Rodin sculpture, The Kiss, which was based on Canto 5 of Inferno, I am beginning a little mini-series about artwork inspired by or about the Divine Comedy and Dante and Beatrice, and these are, again, based on blog posts which I wrote about the topic, and this particular one is about artwork of the Divine Comedy, and the post was originally written on the 29th of September, 2021, and these are distinct from illustrations of the poem. That's its own topic. These are just like pieces of artwork made like outside of like putting in books. Like some of them were like part of little series and like cathedral walls and such, or some were just like large paintings, but they're basically just like obviously completely in a distinct category from illustrations. Joseph Anton Koch, an Austrian-born painter of the neoclassical and German Romantic schools, did 4 frescoes in Rome's Casino di Villa Massimo in what is now called the Dante Room from 1827 through 1829. The first fresco is entitled Dante nella Selva con le Fiere e Virgilio, Dante in the forest with the beasts and Virgil. Though the word fiere means fairs in modern Italian, Dante used it to mean beasts, which is obvious from one of my favorite sections of Canto 1 of Inferno, which I'm hoping to turn into a piece of artwork someday. Tempera del principio del mattino, e lo sol montavan su con quelle stelle. Caran con lui quando l'amor divino mosse di prima quelle cose belle, si che bene sperar mera cagioni di quella fiera alla ghetta pelle, l'ora del tempo alla dolce stagione. The time was the beginning of the morning, and the sun was mounting up with those stars that were with it when divine love first set in motion those beautiful things, so that it was a good reason for me to hope of that beast with the gaily painted hide from the hour of the morning and the sweet season. I absolutely love that section of the first Canto of Inferno and the whole poem in general. The next fresco depicts Inferno as a whole, with illustrations of a few major episodes, like, for example, the neutrals in Anti-Inferno, which has led to one of the most, probably the most infamously fake Dante quote of all time, which I also have a blog post and video about. Charon with his ferry across Acheron, Minos, Dante and Virgil on Geryon, Agnel being turned into a snake, Francesca and Paolo, Cerberus, and Count Ugolino. And I'll be inserting the little close-ups of each section of the fresco here. Koch's third fresco, La Nave del Purgatorio, depicts Canto 9, one of my all-time favorites in the book, at the top. There's so much power, beauty, emotion, and tension jam-packed into its 145 lines, and I would hope to also do some artwork about that in future as well. At the bottom is a boat of souls arriving in purgatory. The right tells the story of Buon Conte da Montefeltro, who died in battle and was fought over by the devil and an angel. On the left are 2 angels vanquishing sin in the form of a snake, which that symbolism in that is like, pretty obvious. Koch's final fresco depicts souls from all 7 terraces of purgatory. The poem's dramatic midway point, Canto 16, is also shown as Dante clings to Virgil in a thick, blinding cloud of smoke. Among the historical figures are Pope Adrian V and King Hugh Capet of France, my 34 great-grandpap. Yes, believe it or not, I am descended from 4 medieval European dynasties. That was a big shock to me when I was doing some genealogical research. The ceiling, I Cieli dei Beati e l'Imperio, the heavens of the blessed and the Empyrean, was done by German Romantic painter Philipp Veit and depicts Paradiso as a whole. People who appear here include Picardo Donati, Empress Constance of Altavilla, Byzantine Emperor Justinian, Rahav of the Bible, St. Thomas Aquinas, Dante's great-great-grandpap Cacciaguida, Roman Emperor Trajan, King David, St. Benedict of Nursia, St. Peter, St. John the Evangelist, Adam, St. Bernard of Clairvaux, and Mary. And I'll also be inserting all the little close-ups of the fresco. And by the way, I should have mentioned earlier, all these close-ups are copyright of someone called Sailko. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, or like, because I've just never heard it pronounced. It's someone at Wikipedia Commons. I've used many of this person's art to illustrate my blog posts over the years. It's spelled Sailko, like I guess pronounce that how you would imagine. I'll be obviously inserting a link down to the person's I guess copyright page or whatever, like the Wikipedia Commons in the description box, just like in case you're interested in seeing more of this person's artwork and photographs. Jumping back to Canto 1 of Inferno, here we have French landscape and portrait painter Jean-Baptiste Camille Corot's 1859 work, Dante et Virgile. Monsieur Corot, who was creepily, unhealthily codependent on and joined at the hip with his parents until his 50s. Like, you will be, like, totally creeped out if you read about him like I was, hopefully, presented this shortly after he did it, but then forgot about it for years. When he ran across it in his studio, he told a friend, "Why, it's superb. I can hardly imagine that I myself did that." Today it's in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, which means I probably saw it at least once. I've been to Boston, I would say probably at least 100 times over the years. Unfortunately, it's been like a very, very long time since I've last been there, but it's absolutely one of my favorite cities I've ever been to. I love it and miss it so much, and I hope I can, go back, before I like make Aliyah move to Israel, because I just like love the art museums and all the history and beautiful stuff about Boston. Dutch-French romantic painter Henri Scheffer did at least 6 versions of this artwork, Francesca da Rimini and Paolo Malatesta, appraised by Dante and Virgil from 1822 to 1855. The oil painting is known by various titles: Le ombres de Francesca da Rimini et de Paolo Malatesta, apparaissent à Dante et à Virgile, the Louvre. I'm sorry, my French pronunciation isn't particularly good. I can read it a lot better than I speak it. De gedaantes van Paolo en Francesca, aanschouwd door Dante and Vergilius, which means the ghosts, or the ghosts, shades, shadows of Francesca de Rimini and Paolo Malatesta appeared to Dante and Virgil. Dante and Virgil encountering the shades of Francesca da Rimini and Paolo Malatesta in the Underworld. And that one's in Pittsburgh, which means I also possibly may have seen that at some time in the past. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, used to live there, and I've been to their museums many, many times, particularly when I was living again in the city when I was 4 years old. We went to the museums at least once a week back then. Dante and Virgil meeting the shades of Francesca da Rimini and Paolo in Cleveland. I get that was, as far as my understanding, that was fairly common back then. I don't know how common it is now for like artists to just basically do different copies of their own artwork. I guess I don't know if that was for the purpose of sending it to all different museums or for their students to learn from, but they just like did lots of different versions of their own artwork, or maybe that was just like a kind of like a perfectionist kind of thing. In addition to, sometimes you will like see a painting credit like in the style of or copy of. It's not like plagiarism. It's just like someone doing a copy of someone's painting. I guess it was maybe cheaper or something or whatever, but obviously that's like getting down in the weeds of another topic of art history. Here's one which I had not yet shown at the time I originally wrote this blog post in September 2021, La Barque de Dante, aka Dante et Virgile all in Fiere, which 1855, the first major work by French artist Eugène Delacroix. It depicts Canto 8 of Inferno, as Phlegias ferries Dante and Virgil across the river Styx, the city of Dis in the background. Today it hangs in the Louvre. Between 1853 through 1858, Edouard Manet did 2 copies of this painting, now in the Museum of Fine Arts in Lyon, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. And the Met is also a museum I'm really, really hoping to visit before I move overseas. I would love to, just take a week in New York City and just visit all these wonderful museums, because like who knows when I might have a chance to do that again after I'm like an entire ocean away. Italian painter Domenico Morelli, who lived from 1823 through 1901, did this artwork, Dante e Virgilio nel Purgatorio, possibly around 1855. It depicts Canto 2 as a light enshrouded boat of newly deceased souls draws close to the Mount of Purgatory, guided by an angel. In 1845, he did another piece drawn from the Commedia, L'Angelo che porta le anime al Purgatorio dantesco, which won an award. For the life of me, I've been unable to locate this other painting, and I've, really looked hard in Google image searches and such, but maybe someday in future I will find it. Like, hopefully, presumably it is like as good as the other one. And this Canto 2 of Purgatorio, that's like a popular topic among artists, and I also love the illustrations of that, which I'll be featuring in my future video about illustrations for the Divine Comedy. Here we see French painter Jean-Hippolyte Flandrin's Le Dante, conduit par Virgile, offre des consolations aux âmes des envieux. Dante, led by Virgil, offers consolations to the souls of the envious in 1835, and maybe it's a good idea to put in the description box the original titles of some of these paintings so you can see actually how they're, spelled, and maybe like correct my French pronunciation. Like, I would appreciate that. It depicts the second terrace of Purgatory in Canto 13. I particularly like the look of compassion on Virgil's face. This painting is now in the Museum of Fine Arts in Lyon. Pre-Raphaelite Greek-British painter Marie Spartali Stillman did many Dantean subjects, such as this 1887 work, Dante's vision of Leah and Rachel, depicting Dante's third and final dream in Purgatorio. In the earthly paradise, that is, the Garden of Eden, on top of the mountain, in Canto 27, he dreams of Leah gathering flowers by the river, while Rachel gazes into the water. And finally, we have German painter Karl Wilhelm Friedrich Husserl's 1845 work Dante and Beatrice, depicting their contentious reunion in Canto 30 of Purgatorio. Dante is so overcome with shame and remorse he's unable to look her in the face. And what do you know? By Hashkata Pratit, Divine Providence, 9 artists were featured, representing Dante's lucky number. Thank you very much for listening. I have at least 2 more videos planned in this mini-series about illustrations to the Divine Comedy, as aforementioned, and artwork of Dante and Beatrice, not necessarily depicting them in the poem, but just like imagined episodes or like reported from the La Vita Nuova episodes from their life. Please, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and liking the video and hitting the notifications bell. And I particularly like seeing comments from my subscribers and viewers because it lets me know people are actually watching my videos, all the way through, and they're actually liking the content, because when I see a like without any comments or like 0 comments or likes, it makes me feel kind of like I, just wasted my time and could have been doing something else with all this time. So thank you guys again very much for watching. I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.